Hello, Roll for Crit here at Gen Con 2024. I'm here with Isaac. You may recognize him from a little game called Gloomhaven and Frosthaven. You know, something, it's a little independent. Not many people in the board game world know about. Being serious, though, this is one of the biggest series of ones that people have fallen in love with time and again. Though, sticking with a little bit small joke before, you actually do have a bit of a small release to actually talk about now that people can now play.
Yes, yeah, we've finally shrunk Gloomhaven down to a micro size, and that's Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs, which is a solo 15-minute version of Gloomhaven, so you can get like a full Gloomhaven experience. Not a full Gloomhaven experience, but an experience that very similar.
An appetizer.
Right, yeah. Like, it feels like you're playing Gloomhaven, but it only takes 15 minutes. And it also is super easy to set up and doesn't take a lot of space.
Now, what came to this? Is it because you want to make something specifically for the solo player in mind? Was it because that people are complaining about box size, or was it simply that you fell asleep to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Maybe a combination of all those. But also, you know, it was originally a fan-made project. You know, a fan of ours, Joe Clipfell. It's just kind of what he does. He takes like big games and sees if he can condense them into like these tiny packages. So he made an 18-card version of Gloomhaven called Gloomholden, which was a really big success. You know, our fans kind of went crazy for it. There was a lot of good media attention with it, and so we looked at it and said, you know, I think, what if we tried to license this and, you know, do a little development work on it and see if we could turn it into an actual product.
Now, obviously,
yeah, it worked out.
And, I mean, definitely. I can imagine also for a lot of people, especially if they are big fans of the bigger series, be able to have this one that I would consider at least somewhat travel size.
Yeah.
And I mean, not even compared to them, just in general compared to board games.
Right, right.
And something that take on, since it's a solo experience, you don't have that guilt of being like, I can't get the group together for this week.
Right, yeah. Or if the group can't get together this week, I guess I'll get my Gloomhaven fix.
Exactly.
Just by myself playing a couple scenarios.
Now, it's been my experience with some of the games that the iteration before have been like, you can see the evolution and like what you learned from the last game going to the next one. Is there anything from the Buttonhaven that you feel like, oh, I like this, I'm gonna, if I do a newer thing for a newer Haven, whatever it is, Firehaven, whatever, that you think a mechanic that you really enjoy in there, that's gonna become maybe a bit more evergreen?
I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, it's possible you could take some of those concepts and apply them to like a specific class or something in a future product. I mean, yeah, things that I really like about Buttons and Bugs, I'm like jealous, you know, that I didn't design them. You know, the whole element system I think works really well. You know, instead of having an element board where, okay, I charge this element up and I can expend it, it's just, if you have a card that's still in your hand that has that element symbol on them, that means that it's charged and you can use it with your other cards that you play that round. And sometimes that interacts with the enemies that you're fighting as well. They might use like the ice that you have in your hand, so you got to get rid of it as quickly as possible.
So it's not simply just playing to set up your turn. Your hand is also now setting up your opponent much more compared to the original two bigger, larger, or I guess three. I should have included Jaws in there. Haven games.
Yeah. And also, I mean, just the double-sided cards is just it's such a smart idea. You know, where it's like you only have 4 cards in your hand, but they do have 2 sides, so you basically have 8 actions. But you know, that wrinkle of them being double-sided actually puts, you know, more thought, or allows you more thought into like how you're the tempo of what you're doing, right? Because like you might have a really good B action, but you can't take it until you do the A action first, and so that's not going to come into your hand until. So, you know, do you play that now? And maybe the elements also come into that, where it's like, there's a good action on the back, but I have an ice element on the front that I want to keep in my hand to do this. But if I want to do the other thing, then I got... So, like, there's a lot of decisions, extra decisions in there that are really exciting.
It kept the puzzle-like nature that people love in the combat, where it's not simply just, I roll big numbers, but how do I get these pieces to fit together for me to get through the encounter?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's really awesome. And is it actually out now selling here, or?
Yep, it's on sale right now, $20. We've got some promo scenarios for you that are specific to the convention. So you can grab those
Shrinking
too.
people down in a convention, that feels a little mean, especially with how crowded some of these days can get.
Or, you know, we can blow it up to life size as well.
Yeah, we do have a little guy standing right over there, and a guy up there as well.
Hey,
But
come play a life-size version, or bigger than life-size, because yeah. Anyway.
yeah, but of course that's not the only thing on. I guess this is no longer on the horizon, but the future of Haven. You have the RPG still.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are really excited about. And have you had a chance? How much have you played with it? Are you like?
Yeah, I'm pretty involved in the developments of that, and I've played it quite a bit at this point. Super excited with where it is now. And yeah, just glad to finally have like all the mechanics nailed down, everything written. You know, we're just going into like doing editing and layout and artwork on all of it. So yeah, it's super exciting to see that finally come together, so we can share it with the world.
All right, but after the RPG and after we got Buttons and Bugs, is it taking a break now? You're like, we're gonna let people play these so they can actually finish their campaigns, or are you gonna be like, guess what, you got more on the horizon?
Oh yeah, we've always got more on the horizon. So yeah, working on new projects as well that we haven't announced yet. But,
of course, I mean,
yeah.
but I gotta ask because everyone's waiting for whatever the next game you've got in store because.
Sure. Yeah. Working on things, but yeah, RPG was what I've been working on for like the past couple of years. So
yeah. So do we have a date for the RPG yet, or?
Not a specific date, but we're looking like early next year, either Q1, Q2, depending on when we can get the factory to actually finish.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes, I mean, actually, you of all people, considering how much stuff goes into both the Havens now, things can take longer. Then there's transporting in stuff. So for now,
always problems.
Absolutely. For now, you can keep an eye out for when we can get the chance to play RPG. But luckily, if you need something to spend some time with, got the single-player, smaller game that should easily fit in your pocket as well as your budget. And of course, you've got the Jaws of Lion regular. You've got Frosthaven, which is getting the book with the map tiles. Which
that's also new that we're just selling for the first time here at Gen Con.
I highly recommend, because that was my favorite things in the Jaws of the Lion, because that cuts down setup time immensely.
Yeah, there was so much fan feedback of like, we need these books for all the other games. So yeah, we've got it ready for Frosthaven, and then we're also going to be making them for second edition of Gloomhaven.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Great. Well, definitely go check all those out. I mean, if you haven't somehow heard of any of these games, take a look into them. But I'm Will, and this has been Gen Con 2024.